With Valentine's Day just a few days away, I am once again imploring you to treat your sweetheart to a homemade pizza. Make it together, top it however you'd like, and enjoy sharing freshly baked pies fresh out of your home oven. Alright, we're going to start by making our dough, which is a slightly lower than normal hydration dough. Got 3 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour, followed by some yeast, a pinch of salt, a couple tablespoons of olive oil, and about 1.5 cups of some lukewarm water, along with a tablespoon or so of honey. You'll want to add all those ingredients to a stand mixer, and go ahead and bring this together into a shaggy dough. If you've got a food processor, that will work as well. Or if you just have a bowl and a spoon and want to knead this by hand, all options are really on the table, so to speak, just depending on what you have from an equipment standpoint to work with. But anyways, once that dough comes together, go ahead and knead it for 4 to 5 minutes, either using your machine or your hands. And then at that point, I'm just going to lube this bowl up with a little bit of olive oil, tuck that dough back in there, and I'm going to let it rise in the fridge for anywhere from 1 to 5 days. And I do know Valentine's Day is only a couple days away, so you better get started, or if you're in a rush, you can always grab some store-bought dough and pick us up where we catch you here in just a few minutes, which is making the pizzas themselves. But making this dough really helps you control the amount of moisture, and it's going to get you a nice cracker style crust, which is pretty traditional in a tavern style pizza. Anyways, there's our dough. It's been in the fridge for a couple days. It's definitely doubled in size. I'm going to get some board flour down and go ahead and turn this dough out. I'm just going to knead it for a few minutes just to kind of wake it back up, warm it up slightly, and incorporate all that board flour in there if it's a little bit sticky. Once I've kneaded it for a few minutes, I'm going to go ahead and form it into a log just to help me cut it into 4 even shapes. I'm going to do that by cutting it in half and then in half again to give me 4 dough balls. You could obviously, make a smaller amount of dough, or you could always just pop a couple balls of dough in the freezer if you're not going to use them right away, and then just thaw them out whenever you're ready to make pizza. Alright, so I've got my 4 dough balls there. I'm going to go ahead and form them into rounds and then let them rise for about an hour or so at room temperature. I highly recommend not skipping this step. They'll puff up nicely and get wonderful little air bubbles in them after an hour or so at room temperature. At that point, we're going to go ahead and form them into circles and then start to press them out into a traditional round pizza shape. Again, you can do this by hand, but a rolling pin or a wine bottle or any round hard object will make it a lot easier. Just put down some board flour, press it out into a circle, and then roll it out. We're looking for somewhere around 12 to 16 inches. It's going to depend on exactly how thin you want your crust and exactly how big your dough ball is. But once you've got it to about 12 to 16 inches, we can talk toppings and baking as well. As far as toppings go, I'm going to keep this simple with some low moisture part skim mozzarella, which I am freshly grating. It's going to melt better and it's not have too much water or excess moisture in it that's going to leach out into the pizza. As far as the sauce goes, I've got a great quality can of 28-ounce whole peeled tomatoes, to which I'm adding some honey, garlic powder, pepper flakes, Italian seasoning, and salt. And I don't want to dirty another piece of equipment, so I'm just going to use my stand mixer and blend this up right in that can. But by all means, if you need to use a food processor or a blender for this, go right ahead. And as always, kind of obvious, but if you just want to buy store-bought sauce and skip a step, this recipe is pretty easy to modify, whether you make everything from scratch or buy a few store-bought shortcuts. Make sure you get that dough into a light layer all the way to the edge. Something that's traditional with tavern style or bar style pizza is you don't have that large bubbly crust. All the toppings and cheese go right to the edge. Once we've got our crust down, I'll sprinkle over that freshly grated cheese. I'm going to keep this pretty simple with just about 15 or 20 pepperonis. Enough on there so we have one in every bite, but not so many so that it's going to be an oil slick when we go to cut it and eat it. And I'm going to go ahead and throw this in a 500-degree oven for 8 to 10 minutes. And man, is that beautiful. Now, I don't have a pizza stone, and I'm guessing you might not either. And so if you don't, you're going to get a great quality pizza by baking this on a baking tray. By the way, I'm topping it with basil and hot honey, but you do you. But again, back to that baking stone situation. If you don't have one, pizza's still going to be beautiful, just like that. But as you'll see in a minute, that bottom crust is going to be pretty blonde. It's going to be cooked, but not brown and golden and got those beautiful bubbles on it. So if that's what you're looking for, you're going to need a pizza stone. They're not that expensive, but I didn't have one, and I wanted to show you can make great pizza without the golden brown bottom on the crust. in about 8 or 10 minutes. Well, that's how long it takes to bake. Obviously, a little more work is involved in making it, but look at that beautiful pizza. That fresh basil just adds a beautiful pop of vibrant floral freshness. And that dough is crunchy and soft and pillowy in the middle. That cheese is gooey and ooey, and I love those golden brown, crunchy, crispy, cheesy edges. Obviously, guys, top this with whatever you'd like to put on your pizza. I highly recommend you give this a try. I know you're going to love it. I know your sweetheart's going to love it. And I wish you all a beautiful, happy Valentine's Day. And now it's your turn, as always, to go make something delicious.